In BMX racing, when it comes to turning pro, we think about amateurs buying licenses in the pro class and then showing up to the next race and racing in the pro class. Well, in this video, I want to talk about how amateurs need to turn pro as a mindset in an effort to help them commit and go all in and get the most out of their BMX racing so they can win more races. If you find that will be helpful, well, stay tuned and let's talk about it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Tuesday night edition of BMX Coach Live. I'm your host, three-time Olympic coach Greg Romero, and I'm excited to talk about something really interesting that I've been thinking about all day as I was working on my new move into a new home. I was able to rush home and take a shower, get the studio all set up, get the lights turned on, get the mics hooked up, and quickly come up with some topics that I've been thinking about all day. Wanted to talk about turning pro and wanted to share with you guys who are either, you guys are amateurs and been in the sport for a long time, maybe perhaps even aspiring to turn pro, or you're a new beginner and you want to figure out what is the pathway for you to find success in the sport, right? That way you guys can enjoy the sport and you can stick around the sport, right? Instead of just trying to coming in and trying a quick trial and then leaving, because that seems to be an ongoing problem with humanity when it comes to anything. It's hard for us to commit. I am guilty of that as well. So I wanted to share with you some ideas that will enable you and empower you to commit and turn pro, be a professional at what you do, despite the fact that you may be racing amateur. Okay, so anyways, let's check out. We are live, so this is really cool. If you guys are watching this on the replay, make sure that you guys subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the notification bell. That way you get notified when I go live or when I post. Let's see what's going on in the chat room. We have Matt McClue, JP Thunder Midget, Marius, XX Air Force 1X. Hello, Coach. Jason P. Hey, Coach, my son won 8X at the Hanford State Qualifier on Sunday. Right on. Guys, welcome back. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited for you guys to be here, and I'm grateful and honored to be your coach. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about, guys that are quitting their jobs and starting their own businesses. And it got me thinking how these guys, they have to go all in. They have to commit. And it's just not something that they have the luxury of doing part-time. And so, it got me thinking, with this audience, with you guys, and also anybody that may be watching this, or if you're already a seasoned expert, how a lot of us struggle to commit and go all in. We just want to test the waters. We want to do a trial. We want to have a taste test. We want to see how it goes. And while I think that's respectable, I really think there is something to be said about just going for it, right? Right off the hop, getting your feet wet, getting your nose dirty, and going all in. Because I think it's going to be better for you. In fact, I think if you go all in and you commit to it, you're going to figure out really quickly if you like the sport of BMX racing or not. And I think that's beneficial. You don't want to just come in and dabble for a couple of years and say, yeah, you know what, it was okay. And, all you did was you half-assed it. And what that's going to do is it's going to translate into the next thing you're going to do. So here at BMX Training, not only do we talk about skills, getting stronger, faster, improving your gate starts, getting a fast first straight, being fit all the way to the finish line, giving you race strategy that will help you and enable you to win more races. We want to empower us as human beings because we're more than racers, man. Most of the people that come into this sport are human beings, and when the things that they get out of this sport is just awesome. it's crazy how much people learn from the sport of BMX and how they become empowered as individuals, whether it is in the next sport, whether it is moving on in school, whether it is getting an awesome job, whether it is becoming an entrepreneur. There's so many different things that a lot of racers that I have coached, including myself, that have benefited just from going all in and turning pro in the sport of BMX. If you guys are watching in the chat, give me amen, give me a fist bump, give me a thumbs up. There's a lot of people that are coming in still. Got a couple guys coming in from down under, Danny Booby, Andy Lim, Audrey, Bryce. Everyone says hello. And let's see, Michael Z says, hey coach, 53-year-old novice here. Love your tips. I share with my 12-year-old son who is intermediate. We love racing together. Michael, that's awesome. And I think this video is going to be really helpful, not only for you, even at the age of 53, you're still young, my man, but you're 12-year-old, right? Let's teach them how to turn pro and commit to everything we do. And I think, again, I think it's beneficial to turn pro, okay? Let's start talking about the benefits. Turning pro, all right? Committing full time. Now, when I mean committing full time, I mean making sacrifices, right? Like if you're a kid, obviously you got things going on. If you're a 53-year-old parent like Michael here, you probably have a job. I will presuppose you have a job, but if you don't, and you know, I ain't mad at you, that's cool. I pass no judgment, but I would say at the end of the day, most of us have something going on outside of BMX. Now, when I say commit full time, I mean, I think you need to streamline everything, right? I think it really comes down to making sacrifices. Like if you're playing other sports, maybe you might want to hone in and focus on one thing. You know, I'm not saying that I want you to quit your job, right? Certainly I have professionals that actually work, but still their mindset when it comes to BMX racing, they're full-time committed. And now, what does that mean, right? What does it mean to be full-time in terms of commitment? Well, that could mean following a training plan, having some goals, showing up every week, right? Just showing up on a consistent basis, but more importantly, showing up with goals in mind and an intent. Having an intent when you show up of knowing what you want out of this sport is better than not having any direction at all. Because when you don't have direction, you just end up getting mixed results, right? You know what? I'm okay. It's pretty good. You know, I make some mains and maybe win from time to time, but I would say it's best for you guys to go all in and go full time. So full time, again, it means following a training plan, showing up day in, day out, whether you're tired or not, okay? Being consistent, having an aim, and having an intent, okay? Really, really simple, all right? We're not going to go too far. We're not going to go too esoteric on you, but I would say, you know, at the end of the day, that's what I mean full time. Now, some of the benefits of going full time, right? Let's talk about, you know, some of you guys are older here. I know there's some guys in their teens, but most of you guys are older here, and some of you guys are parents of your riders. Some of you guys may know of a guy named Richard Branson. Richard Branson is a gentleman that actually started Virgin Airlines. Really good story if you ever get a chance. Basically, I think he was trying to hold a party down in some of the islands in the Virgin area, and what had happened was they had to find a way to fly out of these islands, and he hired not a private jet, but he hired a jet, basically a private jet, but not the private small one, but like a big jet, right? And he just said, screw it, I'm just going to jump down this path and figure out a way to keep monetizing this and just go all in. He committed to creating this airline. And so there's something to be said for that. He figured out really quickly if this was something that he liked or not. And I think at the end of the day, that's the whole point of this video. If you're new watching, if you're getting into BMX, if you're watching this video years down the road, I think you want to find out whether or not you like this sport. I think for guys that are currently racing, you want to figure out, hey, are there goals that I need or rather want or that I'm scared of? you know what? Create the goals, create the aims, and just go for it. Go all in. They're tiptoeing, putting your toes in the water just to feel the temperature doesn't do anyone any good, man. It doesn't. So again, and here's the thing. I tell some of my winner circle training athletes, my my mentees, that at the end of the day, let's create some big goals. And if you don't accomplish them, then you're going to get feedback. That's the worst that you're going to get. You're not going to get failure. You're only going to get feedback. If you're not winning, you're getting feedback. If you're not all in, you're not going to get any feedback, right? Because there's always going to be either someone externally or an internal voice saying, man, just imagine if you just commit, right? You're such a talent. You would be very, very good. You hear stories all the time. I mean, I remember in high school football, there were so many guys on our team, probably, 10, 20% of these guys could have moved on to college, but they never committed to playing the sport of football at the next level, right? I played football, but I got derailed because I was committed to going into BMX. I knew what I already wanted. I wanted to be a professional. I wanted to be a professional at BMX Racing. It was my first love. It was the first sport. It was my first joy. I was committed. I was committed at the age of 8 years old, right? I was more committed than my parents. I discovered the sport before my parents discovered the sport. And I was like, man, I'm all in. I need to get a bike. I need to get a helmet. I got on my dad's case for a week. Hey, get me a helmet. Get me a helmet. Come home with the helmet. Go to the store. This is the helmet I want. And so when he got that helmet, I was all in. And I've been all in ever since. And so there's something to be said for that. There is something to be said for that. Going all in. Let's see here. Number 2, I would say in an effort to go all in, you definitely have to create aims. You have to create a direction. You have to create goals in an effort for you to spiral up to get to the aim that you want, right? What is it that you want out of the sport of BMX, right? What is it that you want to accomplish, more importantly? Now, if you're just doing it for camaraderie, you're doing it for a hobby, look, I'm okay. And to be honest with you, this video is probably not for you. You could probably just move on to the next video. I'm not offended. It's all good. But I would say for the rest of us, for the rest of us that are sitting on the fence, where there's a part of me that's like, you know what? I want to commit. I want that. There's something there for me. And then there's a part of you that's saying, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, are you sure you want to commit? Because, what would happen if you failed, right? So there's a part of you that may be protecting your ego from failure. So it backs off and it doesn't allow you to commit. And really at the end of the day, you just have to say, screw it, let's do it, go all in. Again, we talked about it earlier, the 5 things to go all in. Follow a training program, okay? Show up consistently, have an intent, and have aims. And this is where we're at. Let's create some aims. So what could be an aim for you? At the end of the day, that's something that you need to decide, okay? I know for me, I wanted to become a top professional and I wanted to become one of the best, all right? And at the very worst, hey, I win a bunch of professional races and here I am now. I'm giving back to the sport that's given me so much and I absolutely love it. Create some aims. I think it's really important. Okay. And then, let's just go back to, some of the components of, tiptoeing versus all in. Tiptoeing is basically protecting the ego. Listen, the ego is playing tricks on you. The ego is basically, it's that 10-year-old, it's that 10-year-old or 8-year-old irrational kid, that's playing with you. And it's sometimes that voice off the back of your shoulder that's saying potentially, hey, what would happen if you fail? Maybe you're not good enough. Yeah, maybe you're not good enough. Maybe you need to create some aims and get good enough and start committing and jump on the path and go all in. And so, tiptoeing, man, I've done tiptoeing and other things. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve anyone. I've seen a lot of athletes tiptoe like, oh, I want to go to the Olympics. And it's like, okay, well, is that all you want? Okay, why not go for a medal, man? I've had athletes that they just want to be an Olympian and they're perfectly okay with it. And sometimes it breaks my heart because it's like, dude, why don't you just go for the medal? Because if you're just trying to be an Olympian, guess what happens? You're not going to the Olympics, right? Because there's only so many starting spots to get into the Olympics, especially in America, that at the end of the day, if you're not a top guy going for the medal, you're certainly not going to make the team. So go all in and be a medal contender. The worst case scenario is that you're named an Olympian. Create those aims and go all in. Tiptoeing doesn't do anyone any good, and you're going to potentially waste a bunch of resources, including my time, anyone that's investing money, anyone that's giving you any help. Go all in. When you go all in, you create this vibrational force energy where people are just gravitating towards you all of a sudden, and they're committed. They're committed to help you. Hey, how can I help? It's crazy. Once someone finds success, everyone wants to help and contribute and be a part of it and try to sustain it. Anyone that's struggling, it's hard for anyone to want to be a part of that. And most of the time people are struggling because they're just not all in. Or maybe they're unclear about their aims, their goals, or they're incongruent with their aims. They don't have the identity to go after the aims. And again, that comes down to identifying who you need to be to become that person to accomplish that aim, to get those goals that you want, and going all in to do it. You have to go all in to be the person that you need to be to accomplish those goals that you want. All right, I think that's pretty good for now. I don't want to go too far deep into it. I think we went about 15 minutes. I think that's pretty solid. Anybody in the chat room, are you guys finding this helpful? Is it better to go all in, or is it just better to just have a little taste, have a little tiptoe? Feel the water and see if it's, just like lukewarm. Is it safe for you to jump in? I have no problems with you checking the depth of the water and feeling it and just being like, yeah, you know what? This feels great. Let's go. Let's jump head in first. I love that, man, because you're going to figure out if you want those goals or not. You're going to figure out if racing is something that you want or not. You're going to figure out you're better off spending a bunch of money up front and going all in rather than just like spreading it out over time and having BMX racing becoming a money pit as a hobby. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. Damon Hawking, he's live. Steve Thomas, what's going on? Master Yoda, Cruz and Omar, good evening, everyone. Yay, awesome, good stuff. Let's see, someone's asking about gearing questions. Maybe perhaps someone could help him. Someone in the chat room can help out gearing. Because gearing is gearing is tricky. Let's see, Nicholas Bass, thanks for all the info, always helpful. Nicholas, are you going all in? If you're going all in, give me a thumbs up. Who in the chat room is all in or just tiptoeing? If you're all in, type in all in. If you're just tiptoeing, I'm not offended. Type in tiptoeing. How can we help you go from tiptoeing to turning professional and going all in, right? That is the key here. Who's this? Bryce Ledbetter. I never asked you. Probably suck at racing. Yeah, it depends on who you ask, right? Yeah, maybe I did suck. Yeah, that's great. Jacob James, not the coach's favorite gearing. Listen, I get gearing questions all the time, and it's almost like in photography or in videography, it's like, hey, what camera you shoot that with? And it's like, dude, it comes down to lighting. It comes down to, what lens did you use? How are you eyeing and framing it up? And when it comes to gearing, here's my number one easy default pro answer. Pick the hardest gear that will enable you to do all the things that you need to do around the track. Get out of the gate so you don't get cut off, and also have enough gear to get you to the finish line. If none of that works, then you need to train the engine, right? Because it would be like hey, what would it take for me to be an awesome drag car racer? Dude, I need to have good reaction time. I need to have fundamentals to time myself going through the gears and shifting through and not burning the clutch and not burning up the tires, right? I have to train and try to aim for unconscious competence, which is mastery. Gearing, or as it pertains to drag racing, putting a bigger motor is not going to help me. Messing with the gears on the transmission isn't going to help me. Training and preparation is where it's at. So I would say, this is what I always ask. The next question I always ask is somebody asking me about gears. Hey man, what are you doing for sprint training? What are you doing to train the athlete? All right, so we'll get to all that. Who's all in? Matt McClue's all in. Damon Hawkins all in. Great. Danny Booby, in life and BMX, always go all in. You'll only learn from your leap. Man, wisdom. Love it. Marius, all in. Want to get World's Medal and Masters Vet Pro within upcoming 5 years. I love it, Marius. That's great, man. Have an aim. Know exactly what you want. There's something to be said for that. Fire Falcon says, I'm not sure I'm going as hard as I can in two things or more, flipping back and forth between band and BMX. Ooh, I hear you. I had a dilemma like that. I loved high school football. I was pretty good at it. And I was pretty damn good at BMX racing at the same time. And so I imagine that you're probably in middle school, intermediate school, or high school. Either way, yeah, I think that you could do both band and BMX. I think the thing is that the challenge is being able to to switch the mindset, right? And so I would say at the end of the day, here's the thing. I would try to be the best at both. Okay. And that way you could figure out what you like more, right? BMX is not forever. Maybe playing musical instruments is. My family, I have, by default of my significant other, I've inherited 2 professional musicians, and they love it. One of them's in the Jazz Hall of Fame, plays the sax. The other one is he's also a musical teacher, teaches out of school, and he's also a professional saxophone player. And they love it. They absolutely love it. In fact, my half brother, I'm sorry, please forgive me, my brother-in-law, professional musician, used to race BMX. I think he stopped around 12, and he just went all in on the music. And look, at the end of the day, he's able to take that, some of those key things of going all in BMX, which is learning about motivation, drive, okay, overcoming, right, and performing under pressure, right. Some of the key things of that you're going to learn when you go all in BMX. He's able to apply that being a musician. So man, I would say go all in on both, especially if you're young, because maybe you don't have a working career to worry about right now, right? You don't have a mortgage to worry about. You don't have a family to feed, right? You don't have to maintain a relationship with a wife, okay? Right? So go all in on both. I have no problems with that. And the way you could do that is you just need to create a schedule, Maybe in the morning you're going all in on your music. In the afternoon, where most of the time we get to ride our bike and do some training, we're going all in on our BMX training and our preparation, and therefore increasing our performance. So I think you could do both. And then during school, go all in on your school. I think at the end of the day, here's the thing. I think it's really important that you go all in all areas of your life, right? In all honesty, it's changed my life, and it's created more harmony in terms of going all in on my work and career. Being committed to my money and finances, my home environment, my relationships, my friends and family, my hobbies. I would say the only thing I'm guilty of that I'm not doing all in is going on vacations. I haven't taken a vacation in years. I couldn't tell you the last time I'd done it, but it's crazy because I live here in San Diego and I live literally a stone throw away from the beach. So I feel like I'm on vacation all the time. But I would say at the end of the day, my life it's not, I don't like balance. Balance is not, it's hard to create balance. The universe is always trying to create and find balance. Harmony's better. And going all in on all those areas has actually increased everything. So if you're deficient in one area, right, then I think you're going to find that when you fix that area, right, whether it's relationships, money and finance, work and career, it's going to enhance the other areas such as your home environment, your health and fitness, perhaps your hobby of racing and BMX. Because I know a lot of us that are older, right? If you really want to find success in BMX, listen, I think one of the things, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and what they were saying was that, some of us that are in sport, that are doing road racing, triathlons, they're literally running away from their problems, and they're becoming addicted to recreational sports and commitment. And while I think that's great and they're getting the most out of it, I think it's also great to go all in other areas of your life. But listen, I don't want to go into that area there. I just wanted to touch on that. We want to talk about BMX training and racing performance and keep it 100 here. JP, I'm all in as far as I get, my man. Maria Gill, how do I help my kids to go all in and not tiptoe? I would say create aims, right? Like creating an aim. Who are you trying to be, and what are you trying to get out of BMX? And really get clear on that, right? Life's all about getting clear. If you can get clear on what you want out of sport, right? Like I know exactly what I want while I'm doing this channel, right? My number one value in BMX training as a business and this channel is to help people thrive, experience success, and maintain it or sustain it, right? Help as many people as we can. Hey, listen, that's what we do on this channel, right? We're helping people, newer and younger riders of our sport, right? Learn and thrive and experience their potential. And therefore they could take this model of success and apply it to all other areas of your life. It's done really well for me. It's done really well for a lot of athletes, a lot of professionals, and it's all about going all in. So Maria, I would say, I don't want to make it unclear, but I would say you got to get clear. Help your kids get clear on creating aims, right? I think I have some goal setting videos on this channel. Go check it out. This is a good one. Steve Thomas, thank you. Nearly 54, going all in, clipped in. I love it. Yeah, when you're clipped in, you're all in and you're committed. I love it. That's great, man. Steven, I'm 57 and have all of that. Right. Nikki Kalis says, thanks so much. Please forgive me if I mispronounce your name. Thunder Midget says, let's go. Run what you brung. Isaiah says, hey, coach. Cool. All right, guys. So listen, let's chat a little bit more. Let's go on to the next segment. If you guys are finding value in this, please share this video. I think it's important, right? Like at the end of the day, if I could rewind back and understood what I was going to get out of BMX, I think I would be even more all in my commitment as a professional racer, right? I think instead of winning 100 races, I could have probably won 200 races or won more titles. But at the end of the day, if I could rewind and go all the way back and understood, what was I going to get out of this sport 20 years after I'm done racing, right? The nuggets, the lessons, learning all the lessons of going all in is really, really critical. And this sport is so awesome for you guys to figure that out really quickly and then apply that model in other areas of your life. All right, guys, let's go to the next section of the show, the Ask Coach G section, and come up with your best questions in the live chat, and I'll do my best to answer all of them. All right, I'll see you guys right after the break. Hey guys, I have a question. What would it do for you if you could enhance your power out of the gate, enhance your sprint speed down the first straight, enhance your skills, enhance your mental performance mind state? What would that do for your racing or your kids' racing? If you're seeing the value of enhancing your BMX performance, consider joining the community of BMX Training Pro and get the same access my Olympic athletes have enjoyed, as well as thousands of BMXers all over the world. Some members use the access to improve their gate start techniques. Some also use the access to keep them motivated to train, and you'll find your reason when you gain access and join BMX Training Pro today.
Stay focused, get ready now. For real, get ready now.
Nitro with the nice flow.
Stay focused, get ready now. For real, get ready now. Let's go. Stay focused, here the heat come. Concentrate to the sound of the beat drum. Yeah. Start it up, take it back now. Check it out. This is how it's going down. Yeah.
All right, guys, welcome back after the break here. Days Rock had a really nice comment here. He says, once you turn expert, you better be all in. The testing out the waters is over and the sport really begins. You won't last long in the sport if you're not all in by then. Great show as usual. Yeah, man, 100% Days. I really don't know if I can add to that. That's freaking awesome. Thank you so much. TFR, Thomas Family Racing. You must be all in because, well, your YouTube channel says Family Racing. Coach, any tips on how to help my 4-year-old novice with anxiety? He loves riding and wants to go race, but on race day, he gets nervous and that rolls into doubt. Any ideas? First off, number one, I think we need to identify what's anxiety. What does anxiety mean to him? Because what it means to him may be something different from another 4-year-old or even myself or yourself. So we have to identify what anxiety means. At the end of the day, anxiety, it's a nervousness, right? And we have to understand that nervousness, it's the same physiology as excitement, right? Same body chemistry, if you will. Okay, and we talk about this every show. Excitement and nervousness, same thing. Physiologically speaking, it just has a different label on it. Okay, now, you said he's experiencing doubt. Doubt for what purpose? What's the doubt preventing him from doing? Is he holding back? Is he not pedaling? Is he afraid to get hurt? Is he afraid of failure? Because there is a difference, right? And so maybe he had a bad experience. I don't know. I'm doing all these mind reads because I'm not able to, I don't have 100% of the context of what caused him to have anxiety. I'll give you some examples of like anxiety of like younger kids in which I have personally helped through some psychotherapy techniques as a master practitioner of neurolinguistic programming. And one of the kids I had was an 8-year-old kid who, coming out of the gate, he would just shut down, right? He'd get the start, then he would stop pedaling. And in practice, when he's by himself, he gets great starts. He pedals aggressively. When he gets next to other riders, he shuts down, lets them go, and then he proceeds with the race. And we all know in BMX racing, the race is pretty much over by then. So what was causing him to do that? Well, turns out that he had an accident that happened on the first straight where he came out of the gate and he got tangled up with the riders left and right of him and he got hurt. So unconsciously, he's running this program where when he gets on the gate, the unconscious mind is saying, hey, we're about to get out of the gate. What do we need to do? Well, we need to protect ourselves because last time we did this shit, we got hurt. Please forgive my swearing, but I'm human. And so now all of a sudden he has this loop that doesn't stop. Okay, and that's really, really extreme, right? And you can only imagine what's going through his mind as he's getting into a gate. And they're going to big races, right? They're going to the Fall Nationals. They're going to the Grand Nationals. Mom's spending all kinds of money. They're doing all this traveling. There's big expectations. So there's more pressure on top of that to perform. And then unconsciously, he just shuts down out of the gate. So, what I did was there's 2 ways that you could change that. There's a quick way and the long way. Okay. The long way is pretty common. In fact, I was listening to a podcast earlier this morning about anxiety and how brain neuroplasticity, the science of it is that our brains, until the day we die, from age 1 all the way to the last day, we're always rewiring. It's always reprogramming itself. Back in the day, decades ago, scientists used to believe that our brains, once we were born, were fixed and that was it, right? And, some people were smart, some people weren't. Some people had good habits, some people didn't, and that's just the way you were. Today, we're finding that people actually can change. And I love that. I love this work so much that I did a bunch of training on it where I can help out kids. Now, the slow way, the most common way is to build up that confidence, right? So what you could do is maybe perhaps if you have a practice gate, you could have another kid practice with him coming out of the gate. And I'm just giving you an example, and being really close to him, or doing some sprints, and you as a parent can run along with him and touch his elbow at least for the first 2 or 3 pedal strokes and get him used to getting contact and make it to where his brain doesn't recognize that as fear, and let the brain realize, hey, it's okay. It's okay to make contact. You're not going to crash. There's nothing to be nervous about. All right. That's a slow way to do it. It takes consistent work because, we're trying to give brain rewards over and over and over again to where you fully rewired and changed the program. There's another way you could do it through neurolinguistic programming, where I literally take a picture of, in your mind's eye, come up with this picture of the picture that you don't want, change the submodalities of what you saw, what you heard, and more importantly, what you felt, create a new picture of what you want, right? And really tweak those submodalities of what you want to see, what you want to hear, and more importantly, what you want to feel, which could be things and ingredients such as empowerment, confidence, and things of that nature. And then I basically swap them out, right? And I can do that in about 20 minutes and to about 95% success rate. It's phenomenal. So I just want to throw in that I offer that service. If you go to bmxtraining.com, you can email me and let me know if that's something I can help you with. Or again, you could just simply go through the long way of reprogramming the brain. Great question. Thank you very much. Damon Hawking. Hey, G, can you touch base on self-pressure to get to the top of the elite class fast? I find myself beating myself up if I don't get a good result. I think I train as hard as these guys. Why not me? Ooh, I love it. Yeah, sometimes I think like if you're really training, right? Because I have athletes too, and they struggle, right? Like we all struggle, right? Everyone struggles, even the best struggle. So don't beat yourself up there. Here's the thing. Man, success at the elite class, I know you want success fast, and I think you have to identify what does success mean to you. Certainly from the outside external world looking in, winning is success. But, I have athletes that are like, look, I'm looking to make the main, and, I like to finish in the top 4, but really at the end of the day, they're really semi-type riders, right? Like they know where they're at, but they're still aiming high to make the main and get top 4. Okay. Ain't no shame in that. That's what they want. Sure. Did I try to influence them to create bigger goals? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, they want to, I also have to be realistic with them, and they have to be realistic with themselves. So I think at the end of the day, you have to just decide, what is success to you? When I turned pro, I don't want to talk about myself, but here, when I turned pro, this was one of my goals. And this is not bragging. This is actually pretty cool. My goal was to beat every pro rider. It didn't matter what lap it was, right? Didn't matter if it was a moto, second moto, third moto, a quarter, a semi, or a main event. I literally had a checklist and was like, oh man, I want to beat Gary Ellis, right? He's in my moto. My goal is to beat him, right? Just want to beat the guy. Okay. I was really goofy like that. I knew that if I could at least beat everyone once, then I could win races. It worked for me. And I ended up winning a shit ton of professional races, right? And so, to me in the beginning, that was success. And I found with that mindset, I was able to get on the podium right away. Now, the class is really stacked today, right? There's a lot of guys that are training, that are well trained physically, emotionally, mentally. I would presuppose that they're working on their emotional, mental, but maybe not. So at the end of the day, that's where you can beat these guys, right? Emotionally and mentally, right? The law of requisite variety, having behavior flexibility, being in control of your system is the person that's going to have the ability to operate and tap into their success, therefore probably be the most toughest athlete to beat on the gate. So, it comes down to mindset, right? Who are you as a racer? And then at the same time, I would create a clear goal and define what success is for you. Because winning is going to be pretty hard. If you're going to be like, hey, you know what? Winning the pro class right off the hop as a rookie pro, I don't know if you're a rookie or not, but winning right off the hop, if winning means success, dude, there's tons of pros that go through a professional career and never win. Or maybe they'll get maybe one or two in 10 years of racing pro. It's so hard to win. I mean, you show up, there's 60 guys that are signed up, 59 guys are losing. So you have to identify what is success for you on the weekend of racing. Okay? Making the main, beating more than half the guys in the gate. Maybe it is, beating all these different guys every time you race them. You have to figure it out, my man. I'm intrigued. I would love to even talk to you because I love helping out guys like you. It's great. Thank you. Let's see here. Who else can we help out? What do we got? Let me go to the top real quick. Please forgive me. Let me check and see if there's anything I missed. Some comments up here. Oh yeah, Gordon with the grandson races expert 16. He rides a 44.2 with 16 170 cranks. He's thinking of going to a 46. For what purpose? Will he need to change cranks and go to a 417? Holy smokes, that's really complicated. For what purpose does he feel that he needs to increase his gearing? I need to know that reason. Let's see, who else can we help? Isaiah Official, yeah, just email me, man. He's asking about one-on-one coaching, an individual. Email me, info@bmxtraining.com. Andy Lim, hey coach, would you train a newly turned 6-year-old intermediate? Box jump, speed training? Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. You're getting a little bit more, there's a lot of unresourceful feedback when it comes to kids that are 8 and under doing systematic type training, right? Doing repetitive training. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. If a 6-year-old's getting involved in like baseball, well, guess what? They're throwing a ball over and over and over again. Repetition, right? They're taking batting swings, right? As a BMXer, we're doing gate starts, we're sprinting, we're pedaling. Sure, overuse. So I think in an effort to combat the overuse of doing gate starts and pedaling, why not do stuff off the bike? Why not do box jumps? Why not do calisthenics, jumping jacks, body weight exercises? And it's completely safe because, listen, I would presuppose everyone here at one point in their lives, in their adolescence of life, played in a playground and jumped off swing sets and jumped off monkey bars and and, you know, jumped off ledges and jumped into the sand and did death jumps. So yes, I think absolutely kids should train. And in fact, I do have quite a bit of 8 and unders that are doing systematic training, right? Keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it fun. That's the key. Let's see. Marky Patrick broke my collarbone 6 months ago, going to race Midwest Nationals. How should I prepare? Let me ask you this, Marky. What are you doing now to prepare? I need to know what you're doing now before I can answer. Let me know in the comments what you're doing, and then I'll help you out, my man. Let's see here. Who else can we help? Who else can we help that's in the live chat here? Max. Sorry, like the chat, the words are moving because people are typing. Max Eisler says, I'm a 15-year-old intermediate and I have gone through a hard time recently with my girlfriend. We broke up. What should my mindset be, and how do I get past this to be a more organized and focused racer? My man, I love this. I think that's great. Thank you so much for contributing that question. I know that's really hard to talk about. Yes, I would say, gosh, I think I broke up with a girl at, I think I was 18. Yeah, it's hard, right? Like relationships are hard, and, you know, and it can shift you out of state. It can shift you out of focus and get, you know, and naturally we want to be able to pick ourselves back up, right? And, you know, first and foremost, I would say at the end of the day, listen, man, you're enough. You're absolutely enough. Don't let that relationship define you, right? It was just something that you experienced first and foremost. Okay. Listen, we're now all of a sudden we're like Dr. Phil over here giving relationship advice, but no, I think that's key, right? Because I would say at the end of the day, there's lots of things that are outside of BMX that totally affect us directly into our performance. And so, number one, you have to understand that relationship, it was just something that you experienced. Don't let it define you. Number two, keep your chin up. Literally, you got to keep your chin up and your shoulders back, right? And you have to be in that empowered posture state, because it's hard to get down on yourself when you're in this state. If you're always like this, it's kind of a depressing state, and it's hard to be positive in this state. And I would say, racers, you guys got to take that tip while you're in staging. This does you and serves you no good when you're in staging, waiting to get into the gate, waiting in the chute. So get in that empowered position, okay? Next, I would say straight up, man, you know, like you got to define some goals of what you want in racing. That way you can get back onto the path, right? Get back onto the path. Get back onto the path of success, okay? And yeah, man, create some aims. Create some goals that will enable you to get to those aims, and identify who you want to be as a BMX racer. Listen, you're a 15-year-old intermediate now. Maybe by 16 you're going to be an expert and you're a top guy in the region. Why not make that happen? And then identify, who do I need to be a top 16-year-old expert in that region? Identify who you need to be and start being that person now. That's the key. You just have to make a decision and just be that person that's successful now, right? Sometimes it's just a matter of acting on that straight up. Because here's the problem, my man. The thing is, in life, we tend to think that we have to have something to do something in order to be something, right? And I just say, you know what? Just be that person now. There's a shortcut way to do that, where you don't have to feel like you have to have all this stuff in an effort to be someone awesome, right? Because if you have to have something, then you're always kind of potentially operating out of a mindset of lack, which is scarcity. And I think it's way better if you operate out of a mindset of abundance, of someone that's already fulfilled. The people that are racing today, let's chunk up and look at, you know, the hierarchy of our sport in the professional class. Let's use Connor Fields as an example, the Olympic gold medalist, the 2 or 3 time, please forgive me, USA BMX #1 pro. He's going to keep winning because he's validated, right? He knows he's a winner. He's not operating out of scarcity. He's operating out of abundance. Again, previous to the show, I'm sorry, there was something that we talked about earlier in the show about neuroplasticity of the brain. We can program that success in our mindset and start operating out of success, start operating out of abundance. And that's the key. Instead of just like, oh, you know what, waiting around and like, you know, well, I have to have this. If I don't have this, then I can't be that. Screw that, man. Go get yours, my man. Go get it. You're enough, my friend. You are absolutely enough. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Isaiah, Dr. Phil Romero. I know. Well, you know what, man? I mean, straight up, that's what I do. I have the skills to be a life coach. I do help out executives, and most of my athletes have relationships, man. I do have experience in helping people out in their relationships. Personal relationships are it's heavy on the heart, right? And it can shift us out of state. Damon Hawking, thank you so much for the super chat donation. I appreciate you. I'm grateful. Thank you so much. He says, thanks, G. I really appreciate your advice. I'd love to chat with you sometime soon also. Yeah, man, email me. You know, we could do a 30-minute consultation and see where you're at. I'd love to hear where you're at. I invite you to email me and we can do this. Let's see. Who else can we help? All right. I have enough time to take on a couple more questions. I have to take my girl out to dinner. And so, you know, and I like to eat early. I don't like to wait too late. Let's see. Matt Johnson, 53-year-old intermediate coming back from long haul COVID-19. Sorry, I think it's funny. Muscles and tendons stiff, working on mechanics of starts and pedaling, hoping to start sprinting in early May. Right direction. Yeah, absolutely. You know, at 53 years old, listen, I'm not that far behind you. I'm only 5 years behind you here. And I would say at the end of the day, listen, mobility, flexibility, and range of motion is the most important thing as we get older. And also, strength training is key to addressing all those areas, right? Increasing strength, increasing mobility, flexibility, range of motion, right? And at the same time, you're going to get the benefits of adding more strength. BMX is a sprinting sport. The limiting factor to BMX is a sprinting sport, which is a power sport, and the limiting factor to power is force, which is strength. And you mentioned doing sprints. So work on strength. And yeah, I would say definitely work on your sprint training. And I would work on your ability to have gas, right? Fuel around the track. Having the ability to pedal around the track without getting tired. One of the biggest problems I find with older riders, right, in their 40s and 50s, especially when they're coming back to the sport, is that they show up, they're not fit. And when you're not fit, then you're prone to making mistakes. You don't want to make mistakes on a BMX bike on the track, man. We know how that can go. So get fit. Work on your fitness. Thank you so much for the question. Max says, wow, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I feel a lot better. Yeah, dude, I feel better helping you, man. Dude, you're enough. Keep your chin up. Really easy. You know, create those goals, create those aims, and get back on the path, my man. Okay, so Max has another question. No one else is asking questions. I'm going to do Max's question. Yes, Trey Ride says get fit. I'm going to do Max's question, and then we're going to do probably another question. Let's see. Max has another question. He says, I have another question. What is the proper form for jumping, and how does that look? Okay, so in terms of proper form for jumping, there's a couple things, right? There's two techniques. Number one, the most common technique is the floating technique, right? I don't have any doubles or anything right here. You can't see the top of my laptop, and I'm not going to move it because I'm going to mess up my feed. But basically, you have the front part of the jump that you take off, and then you have the backside. And so you just need to follow that natural trajectory, right? That's just floating. It's just kind of like floating it, looking for the landing, and then setting your wheels down. Really, honestly, if you really think about it, if you overanalyze it, jumping seems impossible, right? It's like, how do we jump? It's crazy. Even today, after having so much experience of jumping, it's mind-boggling. But at the end of the day, you need faith. And number two, you have to look for the landing and just set your bike there, right? If you look for the landing, have an aim where you want to set your wheels, then it's going to happen more times than it's not. Okay. Ways that you could practice jumping. Number one, practice bunny hops, right? Practice properly lifting up the front wheel and then creating that eccentric kinetic energy when your legs are compressed, and then extending off your pedals and then influencing that back wheel to come up. Okay. When you do that, you already are naturally creating this trajectory of going like this. The problem with bunny hopping is that you don't want to just nosedive into flat ground. So you could actually do this on, say, one roller, right? So you can kind of like come up to it really slow in practice, really slow. I'm talking like, 5-6 miles an hour, and you just lift up, catch some air, and then aim the nose right back down into the backside of the roller. Okay. And that way you can practice kind of doing this floating technique. And then you're practicing lifting up on the bike and practicing influencing the bike, getting the nose up, getting the back wheel up, and then setting everything back down appropriately. That's an easy way to do it. Then once you get comfortable with that, you can just simply take that over to a tabletop, right? And then you can kind of apply the same thing. And the tabletop obviously will give you kind of like some emotional and mental protection, because if you come up short, well, hey, you don't have to battle this knuckle where you aim where the front wheel lands into the face of the backside, and then you flip over the bars. If it's a tabletop, you come up short, no big deal, right? You just kind of like pretend that your elbows and your knees are shocks, and you absorb the shock if you are coming up short. Jumping's it's a lot easier than most think. We don't need to overcomplicate it. Matt Johnson says, thanks, coach. Doing yoga again and trying to commute on the bike again. Lungs are starting to work again. My man, that's great. And you know what? You know what would be cool, Matt? Matt is the 53-year-old that's talking about, who's the intermediate, who's talking about getting back into racing. And we were talking about getting fit. Matt, I would say, depending on your commute, how long is your commute? If it's 20 minutes, maybe you do a sprint every 3 minutes for like 10 seconds, right? And it doesn't have to be all out. Maybe it's like a 75 to 90% maximum perceived effort sprint. Have a little fun with that. That way you get a little bit more anaerobic in there, and then you're forcing your body to recover while you're still commuting. All right, guys. Man, I think that's about it. We're 6:30. And again, if you guys are finding any value, make sure you share this video, leave a comment, like the video, and share it. And also, if you guys are really finding value in this and you guys want more value, go check out bmxtraining.com and support yourself over there. Support me. And go check that out. Become a member. There's a 2-day free trial. Go check it out. There's many ways to get faster, to work on your jumping skills, work on your gate starts, coming up with different sprinting techniques, passing techniques, mind strategy, and of course, tons of training plans that you guys could do in there and check out. Again, you guys, it's all about turning pro and going all in, whether you're coming into the sport, an intermediate, an expert, or a current pro. Go all in, be professional, get the most out of sport, and again, have a great night. Enjoy the rest of the week, and I'll see you guys next week. You guys have a good one, and I'm out.